Yo, what's good, everyone? Welcome back to Let's Learn About. I'm Bangladesh, your host, and we're diving into episode 02 of our series on the Bangladesh Revolution 2.0, aka the Monsoon Revolution. If you caught episode 01, you know how students and everyday folks in Bangladesh shook the nation in 2024, forcing fascist Hasina to flee to India. If you missed it, go check it out, it sets the stage. Today, we're digging into why this revolution popped off, who powered it, why it's called 2.0, and clearing up some noise about what went down. So, grab a snack, get comfy, and let's unpack this together. Alright, let's rewind to early 2024. Bangladesh, a country of over 170 million, was a pressure cooker. For 15 years, fled fascist Hasina and her Awami League, ran things with an iron grip. Economic growth. Sure, they built roads and a metro, but the benefits often went to their cronies. Meanwhile, corruption was everywhere. Think top officials caught with millions in shady assets. Inflation was hitting 9.7% by June, and young people, especially, were struggling to find jobs. Foreign reserves dropped from $42 billion to $26.5 billion, and the economy was wobbling. Add to that a government that silenced critics with arrests and worse, and you've got a recipe for unrest. Then came the spark, a job quota system. Government jobs in Bangladesh are gold, stable, good pay, benefits, but a third of them were reserved for certain groups, like descendants of 1971 Liberation War veterans, which many saw as a way to favor Hasina's allies. Students, facing high unemployment, around 15% for youth, hit the streets in July, demanding reform. The Supreme Court's decision to keep the quotas fueled the fire. But this wasn't just about jobs. It was about years of corruption, rigged elections, and a government that called protesters terrorists instead of listening. That anger turned a student protest into a nationwide uprising. The real story here, this was a people's movement, not just a student thing. It was about saying no to a system that put power over people. Let's talk about the heart of this revolution, the youth. Bangladesh is young, over half the population is under 30. These students, some barely out of high school, faced tear gas, rubber bullets, and live ammo. Reports say over 1,400 people were killed during the protests, a brutal toll that shows the cost of standing up. The UN called out the government's response as shocking violence, with evidence of extrajudicial killings. One heartbreaking story, a student named Abu Saeed raised his hands in surrender, trusting the system, only to be gunned down in cold blood. Yet these young folks kept pushing, organizing rallies and a massive march to Dhaka on August the 3rd. Social media was their secret weapon. Platforms like X and TikTok let them share videos of the crackdowns, making the world pay attention. Hashtags like #MonsoonRevolution went viral, and even when Hasina's government cut the internet, the message was out. Posts on X called it a revolution live streamed. This wasn't just a protest, it was a digital uprising that showed the world what was really happening. The government couldn't hide the truth anymore. Now, let's clear up some noise. After fled fascist Hasina hightailed it to India on August the 5th, some Indian media pushed stories about Hindus being attacked in Bangladesh, painting it as religious violence. But here's the deal, reports from local sources, like Al Jazeera, found that attacks weren't about religion but politics. The few Hindu households targeted were often linked to Awami League leaders, not hit because of their faith. A fact-checking group, Rumor Scanner, debunked at least 13 false reports from Indian outlets between August and December 2024, calling out exaggerated claims like millions of Hindu refugees fleeing to India. This smells like propaganda to stir anti-Bangladesh sentiment, especially since Hasina was seen as India's ally. Hindus, about 8% of Bangladesh's population, weren't facing widespread mob attacks. Most violence was tied to political payback, not religious hate. So, why Bangladesh Revolution 2.0? It's a callback to 1971, when Bangladesh fought for independence from Pakistan. That was 1.0, freedom from external rule. This time, it's about freedom from internal oppression, corruption, autocracy, and a system that crushed dissent. 2.0 is a vision of a new Bangladesh, transparent, fair, and youth-driven. It's like hitting reset on a broken system. Okay, let's get real for a sec. What does it take to spark a revolution like this? Imagine being a student, facing down armed police for what you believe in. Have you ever seen that kind of courage in your own community? Hit us up on social media with #Let's Learn About, and share your thoughts. We might shout you out next episode. Now, Muhammad Yunus, the Nobel laureate we mentioned last time, stepped up to lead the interim government. He's got a big job: stabilize the economy, reform institutions, and set up fair elections by 2026. He's pushing for peace, saying, "Violence is our enemy," and promising justice for the 1,400 plus killed and thousands arrested or disappeared under Hasina's rule. But it's not easy. Rebuilding a nation takes time, and some worry the interim government's moving too slow. Why should the world care? This revolution shows what happens when people, especially young people, say, "No more." It's a wake-up call about democracy, corruption, and the power of social media to change history. Globally, it's got everyone watching. India's nervous because Hasina was their ally, and the US and China are eyeing how Bangladesh picks its next leaders. Plus, it's inspiring activists everywhere, from Asia to your own backyard, to demand better. What's next? The interim government's got to tackle a broken economy, reform the police and judiciary, and make sure justice is served for the protest victims. Elections are on the horizon, but the road's bumpy. We'll keep digging into this in future episodes. Maybe we'll explore how students are still shaping things, or what's up with those reforms. What do you want to hear about? Let us know. That's a wrap for episode 02 of Let's Learn About. I'm your name, and I'm so stoked to be sharing this story with you. If you're feeling inspired, hit that subscribe button, drop a review, and share this with a friend. Follow us on insert social media platforms, and use #Let's Learn About to join the convo. Next time, we're tackling another big story. Any guesses what's coming? Stay curious, and I'll catch you soon.